Hey there, this is Diane Brandon Moody. I'm a dating coach specifically for people over 50, and I have recently put together a mini training on how to date safely and scam free. So, why don't we get into it? I'm going to share my screen, find the PowerPoint here. All right, let's get started with no further discussion. This is Dating Safely and Scam 3, specifically for women over 50, but it isn't necessarily only for women over 50. A lot of this deals with online dating, but not all of it. So let's dive in. So if you want to know who I am, I'm Diane Brandon Moody, and as I said, I'm a dating coach. I did not get married the first time until I was 58 years old in 2019. Um, my husband and I got married 365 days after meeting in person. And so this presentation is specifically to help you out so you don't get stuck losing money. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is you are going to start a brand new email account that's never been used for anything else, and you will never use it for anything other than online dating and online dating apps. So do not use your real name. You can make something kind of sexy like Brown Eyed Chef or Cowgirl or whatever it is that you want to do that kind of describes you. You want to describe yourself, but you don't want to identify yourself. If you're using Facebook dating, that's a little bit different. Your profile is there for people to view, which is fine. If you feel safe, you can do that. Just understand that their profile may not be accurate, that it might be a scam. And you can usually tell that by how many friends they have or how old the profile is. If it's brand new, don't bother. Okay, so you've got a brand new email account that you're not using for anything else, and you're going to get a Google Voice phone number. These are free last time I knew, and that protects you, that in the new email account protects you from reverse searches. Now, I want to emphasize that I think the vast majority of people that are dating online are great people, or at least have the potential to be great people. But we're going to just take care of ourselves and make it a little bit harder to find who we are. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to create 5 new photos with only you in them. Have a friend help you with this. We are not looking for professional photography here. We're looking for just good basic phone pictures. They need to be well lit. They can be outside, just not at noon when the sun's beating down, or in the heat of the day. So you want to be doing some fun things. Make sure that 2 of them are full body shots. Why do we do this? Because the number one complaint with online dating is that people don't look like their photos. People can be a little delusional. They put out a photo that is 20 years old, thinking they still look like that. Or maybe they're trying to not face up to the reality that they put on 20 pounds last year. Either way, you want to make sure that they're accurate and they're not any older than 6 months old. Yes, you heard me, 6 months old. So, 2 full body shots that show you exactly what you look like now. Make sure at least one is a smiling close-up. These need to be with you by yourself. You don't want your kids in the photos. You don't want your friends in the photos because they may not know who you are. It's just you. You can be doing fun things. You could be hiking. You could be, I don't know, playing on your softball team. You could be dancing, doing a line dance somewhere. Just make sure it's really obvious that you are the one that this ad is about. action shots are great. You want to look like you on a good day. And the reason I say this is because you don't want somebody meeting you for the first time and going, oh, you don't look anything like your pictures. That's kind of embarrassing, you know? So you don't want to do that. What you really want is for someone to say, I thought you were attractive in the photos, but I think you're better in person. That used to happen to me. I was always pleased when it happened. So, again, no professional photos, just good phone photos, and get a friend to do it for you. Getting these new pictures that are not used for anything else but online dating will also keep you from reverse lookups. It's very easy to reverse an image and see who that belongs to. So it just make sure you use them only for online dating, and that's it. Okay, so this sounds really obvious, but trust me, it happens all the time. Online dating is only a method to meet someone. It's not a relationship. No dexting. Dating plus texting, dexting. This is stupid. Don't do this. People create these wild fantasies and they text each other for months and months and months, acting like they have a relationship. It's not a relationship. You're having a fantasy in your head. And is that what you want? If this is okay with you for months and months and months, I think you need a coach or you need a therapist to look into with you why you're much more comfortable with a fantasy relationship than you are meeting a real person. So, I am a cisgendered heterosexual female. I dated only men. So, if I refer to he and all that, it's because I only dated hymns. But understand that what I'm talking about can be reversed. Men can listen to this and perhaps learn something as well, because there are women who have um, stolen from men. In fact, I know somebody who was about 40 years old and had a PhD. And I know three people personally who lost $160,000 between them. So this stuff is real. It doesn't happen to just dumb people. It happens to people of all ages and of all intelligence levels. So this is why you don't want to pretend like you're having a texting relationship. What you want is somebody who's mature. And mature, I don't mean old, I mean somebody who's a grown up. Somebody who wants to meet in person sooner than later, and who can give notice of a couple of days in advance. When I say sooner than later and a couple of days in advance, that sounds contradictory, but let me tell you what it is. I mean, sooner than later rather than dragging it out for months, but you also don't want to go with the guy or the woman who says, how about in an hour, let's meet. Now, there are instances where this has worked. Most of the time, it doesn't. It's kind of nefarious. It's a booty call. You just don't want to go there. So, a couple of days is really nice. The way you can be nice about that is if you say, oh, I really can't tonight, but how about Thursday? If you propose an alternative date, then they know that you're not just making something up because they've probably interacted with somebody who made something up. So, you also want to be with somebody who's capable of getting offline and connecting by phone, meaning phone calls. I know a lot of people don't want to do phone calls, but believe me, it'll tell you a lot about a person, and connecting in person, and who is willing to get to know you over time. You can't rush intimacy or trust. You have to do that over time. So, rushing only ends up being not good news. Don't do that. Okay. So do assume the best until proven otherwise. By assuming the best, I mean you don't have to act like every single guy is Jack the Ripper, because they're not. You do have to be in charge of your own safety, but you don't have to assume everybody's out to get you. Please bring a sense of humor to it. Sometimes things can be a little bit silly, and if it induces rage in you, you're just slowing down the process. I understand the rage. I have the rage at times, but learn to laugh at it. My biggest rule for understanding scams is to meet in person within 2 weeks or completely drop him. 2 weeks will tell you all you need about anybody. If they can't do it in 2 weeks, then chances are this is a long game with them and they're trying to scam you. So this also goes for the people who say, oh, yes, we can go out Friday, and then Friday afternoon something happens, suddenly their child is sick. Well, that can happen in the real world. It can absolutely be real. But if this continues to happen a lot, then it's either a scam or it's somebody who just doesn't have the capacity to date. And either way, you don't need to be around them. So 2 weeks is my rule. You can try reverse searching his photo number and details or hers. I caught a few married ones with that little trick back in the day, so it's good. Truthfinder.com is helpful. Just make sure you have the right person. There's a lot of John Smiths out there in the world, and if you are looking for John Smith, make sure you've got the right John Smith before you give up on John Smith. Also, my 2 cents worth is date within your geographical area. Long distance just is not easy. And in many cases, I think it's a way of telling yourself that you're looking for intimacy and at the same time really avoiding it. It's one thing if you were college sweethearts and suddenly one of you had to go out of state for law school for a while. I mean, that's hard enough to do, but to meet somebody and get to know them over long distance, it can be done, but it's not easy. So my suggestion is, unless you're prepared for the hassle, just don't do it. Be in your geographical area. Okay, another few, if you don't never interact with somebody who has 69 in their handle. Oh, gosh, that is so dumb. It's immature, and you will be able to bypass a lot of that immaturity if you just bypass them. Someone who will never call or meet in person but drips you texts over time. Nope, that's a big nope. If you actually want to meet someone, that isn't the way to do it. So, nope, move on. Never make online dating your only method of dating. I teach more about learning to meet each other in person in places in my 12-week program, how to flirt, how to get someone's attention, um, all of those ways that really reduce your chances for being scammed. And actually, they're kind of a lot of fun. So I do that in my 12-week program. This is specifically about scamming and safety. Someone demands to meet you now. That's not cool. Somebody doing that usually has some kind of motive. And I'm not going to say what the motive is because I don't know, but it usually isn't a good one. So if it's a demand, you don't know anybody that will to acquiesce to a demand. Don't do that. Never put up with rude behavior, any form of ghosting, anyone whose words and actions don't match. Just don't. Don't try to make him into the right person or her into the right person. If the stuff doesn't match, it's time to move along. That is your intuition telling you something's not right here. Okay, for physical safety, for the first month or so, insist on driving your own car or meeting at that place wherever you're going. This is for your own physical safety. Excuse me. For your own physical safety, it's very necessary for you to take your own car and be responsible for your own safety. Never, ever, ever get into the car with somebody you don't know. It's never a good idea. Never go to his place until you've been together, dating for at least a month or longer. And that's assuming that your gut's telling you everything's okay, that person is who they say they are. Don't take a walk in a deserted area on your first date, the first couple of dates. And this isn't obvious to everyone, but never let your drink leave your sight. Some people might think I'm being paranoid at this point. I'm not. The reason I'm not is because when I was in college, my drink got drugged. And I had only had 2 drinks in the space of about an hour and a half. And I got so sick. I was sick for 3 days. My head was splitting. I was going in and out of consciousness. Thank God my roommate was with me and she drove my car back to college. So it happens. And I was in college a long time ago, so it's been going on a while. So don't let your drink leave your sight. For a little extra protection, tell a friend where you're going and let her know when you return. And if your intuition is very, very nervous, don't go. Cancel, block, and delete. Now, I need to stop to make a clarification. If your intuition, your gut is telling you there's something off here, I don't know what it is, but there's just something, then you should not go out with that person. Absolutely do not do it. That is different from a general sense of fear about any guy. This may, excuse me, this may be due to trauma that you've dealt with. And again, this is something for a therapist or a good coach who's familiar with trauma and who's good at trauma. And you need to work through that in another way other than just projecting that on every guy who walks by, because that's not fair to them. It's probably not a good time to date. But if your intuition is giving you strong messages, by all means, listen to it. For your emotional safety, please be in a good place or don't date right then. Take a break if you need it. I know how it is to be rejected over and over and over, or get some really bonehead people answering you or saying terrible things to you. Take a break if you need to. But if you can't laugh at some of this silliness, it's time to stop for a while and give yourself a break, because projecting every bad thing onto somebody else will not get you what you want. No dexting. I said it before, I'll say it again. Catfishing can only happen because people will text and text and text and text. I remember that I was working for a very famous love coach, not working for, but I was a moderator on the message boards for a very, very famous relationship coach. And the first time I heard it, when someone was just crying about how her relationship was over, and I did a little bit of digging, and it turned out they'd never been in the same room, ever. I was like, honey, you don't have any kind of relationship. This isn't a relationship. I don't know why you're sad. Well, she had built it up into her head because she was talking to somebody, talking meaning texting to somebody for hours a day, every day for months. And in her head, this was a relationship. It's not. Sorry, guys, spring allergies. Um, so again, this is delusional, and it's time to get some help if this is what you think you've got. Also, memorize this: man's rejection is God's protection. Not always easy to hear in the moment, but if for some reason it isn't working out, maybe it's not supposed to. I could tell you scores of stories where the person was really better off taking the hint early on So don't continue to do that. Do not ever, 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 ever send money to anyone ever for any reason. You are not lending money. Excuse me again. You are not lending money. You're not giving money. You're not even opening links. Do not even open links. Do not send by PayPal, credit card, cash, or bank account. I don't care how well you think you know them. You don't. You're not giving money because the minute you do, they can clean out your entire bank account, not just the money that you sent them. You don't want that to happen. If they send you links of here are photos of my family, you're not going to do that either. Don't click on links. I know it sounds incredibly obvious not to send money, but it happens every single day. Billions and billions of dollars have been lost in the US alone to dating scams. Here are some reminders. Meet within 2 weeks of contact or ditch him or her. If you can't meet within that time frame, she just isn't available. They're married, emotionally unavailable, aren't who they say they are. For whatever reason, you just don't need to mess with that. 2 weeks is plenty of time. You do not have a relationship if you haven't been in the same room more than once. It's a fantasy and a delusional one. So that is not dating. Trust is earned over time with consistent actions matching words. I want you to underline that in your head and memorize it. Trust is earned over time with consistent actions matching words. Don't give trust until it's earned. And don't let yourself be gaslit into doing so. I used to get guys huffy at me saying, well, you don't trust me. Of course I don't trust you. I don't know you. Why would I trust you? That would usually annoy them. And whether they were trying to scam me or they were just immature for whatever reason, that usually stopped it. But of course, I don't know you at all. Why should I trust you? So don't let them gaslight you because that's just Alrighty, I've come to the end of that tiny mini course, but that ought to give you a pretty good handle on it. If you want to schedule a free, no obligation love audit with me, we can chat about your romantic dreams and your obstacles. I can tell you about my 12-week program and exactly how I went from being single and cynical, and boy, was I cynical, to being happily married at age 58. And we can get started getting you exactly what you want. Now, whether you decide you want to work with me or not, I will make sure that you leave with something useful for yourself. You can find me at dianebrandonmoody.com. You can grab my love audit, schedule a time, and we can talk. So, hope you've enjoyed this quick how to date safely and scam free. Please don't think that it's overly protective or that I'm telling you ways to avoid dating or that men can't be trusted, because that isn't the point at all. Some men and some women can't be trusted. So this is the way to learn how to do it. And if you don't learn anything different from me at all through this video, understand that the best way to tell if someone is a good match is if their words and actions match consistently over time. Those are my parting words. It's been a pleasure tonight sharing all this with you, and I hope to see you soon. Y'all take care and happy dating.